Welcome back, Dynasty lovers, to another episode of the Dynasty Interview Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Adrian, my co-host,
Scott Martin.
And we are back for show number 2 of the 2023 NFL Draft Class. I think the show is actually pretty good. We got a lot of good players for you here today then. So on this docket today, we have Zay Flowers out of Boston College, Bryce Ford-Wheaton out of West Virginia, Elijah Higgins out of Stanford, Xavier Hutchinson, Iowa State, Scotty's boy Jalin Hyatt out of Tennessee, Andrei Losivas out of Princeton, Rakim Jarrett out of Maryland, Quentin Johnston out of TCU, Texas Christian University then. So should we get going here? Zay Flowers, Boston College then. So 5'9", 182 pounds, 9.25-inch hands then, ran a 4.42 40, had a 35.5-inch vertical, 10-foot 7-inch broad jump, and a 1.53 second 10-yard split.
So 83rd percentile 40, 56th percentile vertical jump, 84th percentile broad jump, and then no further testing at his pro day.
Yeah, I think he did most of the stuff there. It would be cool to see a 3-cone on him, but
Yep.
He was a guy that had solid production all 4 years at Boston College and then topped it out last year at 78 catches, 1,077 yards, 13.8 yards per catch, 12 touchdowns. It had another 40 yards on the ground then too, which used actually a lot in his freshman year as far as the ground game. It had almost 200 yards that way. But I'll start with Zay Flowers here. So I really liked him a lot. He is probably one of the most well-rounded slot receivers in this class then. I think he has a chance to be an elite slot receiver then. Very quick feet then, great release then, fast route running. So he doesn't lose any speed when he makes cuts as well then too. He's always works back to the ball then too, so he helps out his quarterback a lot then. And you need to, as a slot receiver, you're going to have a lot of tight windows, and you got to get back to the wide receiver, back to your quarterback then, and sort of cut down that throwing lane a little bit then too. Play speed is very fast then. I gave him an 8 for that then, and I think he's even quicker than he is fast then. So I think he's 3-cone would be very good. So that's why I was saying I wish I would have seen that then. And he has very good ball tracking, always in control then. He's physical, so he likes contact for a smaller guy. And as far as his yards after a catch, he's a slippery guy then. He's not like a powerful breaking tackles kind of guy. He can shed some tackles, more so than the other guys. Are in the 170 range then. He's in the 182. And I think he's actually gaining weight, at least what they're saying post-combine then too. The biggest thing, I don't think he's necessarily the greatest contested catch guy. He had more drops than I would like then, so 9 drops this past season, 10.3% drop rate. But I think he still has decent hands then. So he shows that he's a hands catcher, and he's pretty good at that. But I said he needs to clean that up for the next level at the NFL, because as your slot guy, you have to have elite hands. That's what got Isaiah McKenzie cut with the Bills. And then that's why they brought Cole Beasley back, because Isaiah McKenzie was just dropping too many balls in the slot then. So if he cleans it up, then I think he can have the chance to be an elite slot receiver, but very well-rounded then. And I think he sort of stands out. Him and Josh Downs stand out as far as these slot receivers. I think Jordan Addison has a little bit of outside potential, but he's still going to be a slot guy. But as far as pure slot, Zay Flowers, Josh Downs are the ones that stand out in my mind then.
So it's interesting that you say about being pure slot. So what was your score for Flowers?
79.
Okay. So I also got a 79, and I really, really, really like Flowers. He ended up coming in as my number 3 guy. So I really, really liked him. He has, absolutely he can be a special slot guy, but I think he can play outside some because his footwork is super slick. He has some moves to sort of play outside, and he has the physical strength to just throw press coverage off. He really sort of attacks those DBs that try to get up on him. And the speed is just 0 to 60 in a blink. So I think he has some ability to play outside because he's a solid 5'9", 182. He reminds you of.
I love that we're saying 182 is solid.
Well, I mean, he just really compact and he's stout. I can't remember how tall Rager was, but he reminds me of a better Jalen Rager.
Yeah, Rager was taller. I think he was that 5'10", 5'11" range, if I remember correctly.
But off the ball, super fast. He's definitely got some moves. His route running is very crisp, very precise. He is super, super smooth through the gears, just like you said. He can telegraph sometimes, I don't know if he takes too many steps or he's using the same move over and over, but DB sometimes can sort of account for that, and so he doesn't create the most separation at times. But he's a really good route runner. He doesn't operate underneath sort of as the slot guy as much as other people, and some of that's because he's got ability down the field, so he runs more routes down the field. You mentioned, the ball tracking is super special. I mean, he has some nasty catches on highlight films, if you go look at those, and he, after the catch, super, super special elusive. One of the best guys in the class, not named Demario Douglas, that just can absolutely.
You love Demario Douglas.
Yeah, because he's the most elusive person. Like, he's just untouchable. But Zay Flowers has got that sort of special elusiveness too. Blazing top end speed. I thought he was faster than 4.42. He's super fast, and he continually builds speed. He's super fast right off the ball, but it's like he just continues to gain speed when other people are slowing down. And he's a super big threat, attacking the seam. The things, like you said, that knock him down a little bit is, his contested catches are special. He's got some special catches, but there's sometimes he drops some of those balls that, don't get me wrong, it's like I don't expect him to catch it, but it would be super nice if he did. So he leaves a few out there, and there's just some concentration drops at times, just inconsistent hands. He's got 9 1/4 inch hands, so they're not that small. But he, like you said, 9 drops on 124 targets is a little tough. And so I knocked him down a little bit there. But 79. And man, I love Zay Flowers. I hope he goes to a nice landing spot. He's a lot higher up my board than I expected him to be.
Yeah, he was invited to the NFL draft then too, so
that's a good sign.
They're probably projecting to be in the first round. They usually don't want to keep those guys there too long.
Yep.
And that there was the word that the Patriots were really hot on him then too.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, no one likes the sort of the run first Patriots Mac Jones led offense then. But
well, we're gonna have to sacrifice somebody to Baltimore. So I already have an idea of who I want to sacrifice. So we'll talk about that.
I already
this
like
show.
the sacrifice of OBJ in Baltimore though.
Well, we'll talk about that this show.
Yeah, we had to sacrifice one of our favorite wide receivers in the 2021 class then with Bateman.
Yeah, Bateman.
But,
never again.
We were watching together, and they say when Baltimore drafted him, we both went out like, "Oh man."
Yep.
Yeah. Ben Roethlisberger was apparently bashing Lamar Jackson's accuracy. So, but So let's move on here. So next on the list, Bryce Ford-Wheaton, the Mountaineer, West Virginia Mountain Mama, 6'4", 221 pounds, so great size then. 9 3/8 inch hands then, ran a 4.38 40, had a 41-inch vertical, a 10-foot 9-inch broad jump, 1.54 10-yard split, and he actually did 3-cone drill, so 6.97 3-cone drill, so special numbers. What percentiles?
90th percentile 40, 54th percentile 3-cone, 97th percentile vertical jump, 89th percentile broad jump.
So as far as production, had 4 okay years then. Never elite production, but his best year was in 2022. So 62 catches, 675 yards, 10.9 yards per catch, and 7 touchdowns. So Scotty, tell us what you think about Mr. Ford-Wheaton.
Well, obviously he's an elite athlete. He's a definite combine warrior. So his film wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Like, I almost didn't scout him, but then after the combine, I was like, whoa, we definitely gotta look at him again.
Yeah, we were talking about he's a combine monster. We gotta scout him.
He actually came out with a really pretty good score. So I thought he had, He's above average speed off the ball. He is actually, for one of the only handful of outside receivers that's a legit outside receiver, and he can swat away hands pretty easily with press coverage. He actually does better when corners are being more physical with him because he can sort of get them off of him and then use some of his down the field speed. So he has a pretty good release off the ball. His route running is one of the things that kind of isn't the best. He has a very undeveloped route tree. His breaks, he looks like he's got tight hips, which he ran a pretty good 3-cone. It's a little above average, but he looks a little tight. His breaks just aren't precise. Yeah. Rounds things off a lot, yeah. And, his hands are a little above average. He only had 6 drops on 105 targets, but he just drops more than you like. So you want to see better consistency, but he can sure make some special catches. He's got really good ball skills. There are times I saw him mistime his jump, but overall he can really make some nice stuff. He can contort his body, get that back shoulder catch, and he's pretty good, contested catch percentage, 18 out of 34, just about 53%. That's not bad. I'd expect maybe a little better given his skill set, but that's definitely above average. And his, pretty good physicality, his yards after the catch, he doesn't offer a lot as far as elusiveness, but he's just tough to bring down. When you are an outside receiver, you can handle press, you have the top end speed, but you can run with sort of speed variation. You can really sneak up on those corners if they're giving you a cushion or just eat up the safety, and he does that so well.
He's a long strider.
Yep, definite long strider. I just wish he was a little more loose in the hips to be able to work some sort of with a slant or work in the middle of the field at times, sort of in the intermediate, because he could be more of a complete receiver. I really like Bryce Ford-Wheaton. He got a 70 for me.
He's got 70. I gave him a 67. I wanted to like him more.
Yep.
I saw everything you did. I think his release is a slow release. He's susceptible to jamming then. The route tree is very underdeveloped then. But to be fair, probably everybody's route tree is underdeveloped in college.
Yeah.
So everyone has to sort of relearn that in the NFL then. I thought his drop rate was 8.8% then, so a little higher than I would like, but it's not that bad, not bad. But he does miss some easy ones that I don't like to see then. Good body control, good tracking then. Physicality, he's a very good blocker, so he uses his size very well then. And then just not much after the catch. I thought he played slower than the 4.38. I don't know if that's just I'm seeing that long strider. He just doesn't look as fast as some of these other micro receivers then. And then his acceleration doesn't seem to be the greatest either then. I think he's a guy that's going to be frustrating to own in the NFL. I almost picture him like an MVS. So he has these measurables. He has his speed. He's very good at sort of the more that deep ball. And I think he's going to be a red zone type specialist then too, but just using his size then. But he's not going to offer consistent production in the NFL then. So I was disappointed by the tape, definitely disappointed by the production then. And I still have him on my board just because his combine was so good and I see potential there, but it's going to take some work for him to be a fantasy asset. So I'm probably thinking maybe that more like a 4th, 5th round type grade as far as your rookie drafts for.
Oh gosh, I don't have him that low. He's an absolute definite shot for the 3rd round.
Well, there's going to be a lot of wide receivers that you're looking at, and a lot of tight ends then. And there's always running backs to get that depth then. But like I said, I'm not actively going out and grabbing him. But like I said, I still see potential there. But I think he's going to be on your practice squad for a while. And when it's time to promote, you're going to have a decision to make. Then is it cuttable, or are you going to give him more time then?
Yeah, I don't see him that low. Like I don't think he has the sort of route running ability to be a true number 1 on a team. He has the sort of physical makeup, but I don't think he'll ever be more than maybe a wide receiver 2 or 3 on a team. He'll complement another really good group. So I don't know if he'll have
wide receiver 3 on a team.
I mean, probably
I'll draft someone that's.
I mean, probably not. He reminds me of Edwards.
Yeah, but Bryan Edwards, you're paying up for that price then. You're paying second round pick, and in some drafts, like when the hype was getting big, when Derek Carr was comparing him to Devontae Adams, then you're seeing him go in the end of the first round then.
Well, that class wasn't as deep as this one as far as the other positions, but
they had excellent wide receivers. That was the Higgins, Jefferson.
Well, I honestly think he's easily an early third rounder. I don't know. Like it just gotta find the spot, man. He's got to have the right kind of room.
Well, it's gonna be landing spot. I think NFL teams are going to probably draft him higher than I would expect based on this film, just from the potential there. But I have to see. I could see him going in the fourth round as far as the NFL draft. Then.
Yep.
But I think he's probably, as far as what we saw in film, as far as production, he's probably more a 6th, 7th round type talent then. But that's just me then. I'm not a professional scout. But let's move on then. So another big wide receiver here, or shall we say tight end?
Yeah, definitely needs to be a tight end.
Elijah Higgins out of Stanford. So 6'3", 235. So he has over 60 pounds on Josh Downs, which is amazing. And he had big hands, 10.5-inch hands then. Still pretty quick. We're in a 4.5, 440, 35-inch vertical, 10-foot, 6-inch broad jump, 1.56 10-yard split, and a pretty good 3-cone, 7.01 3-cone. Had good production the past 2 years, topped out in 2022 with 59 catches, 704 yards, and 11.9 yards per catch, and 2 touchdowns. I forgot to give you the percentiles here. What percentiles you got, Scotty?
So 39th percentile 40, 45th percentile 3-cone, 50th percentile vertical jump, 82nd percentile broad jump. At his pro day, he tried to run the 3-cone again, and it didn't go well. So 713, 23rd percentile.
Well, 713 is not terrible.
Well, no, but he ran a 701 at the combine, so.
Yeah, he should have just kept with that. Like, why run that again?
Yep.
But, so I gave him an okay score. I got him a 68. We'll start there. And what I came out thinking, just watching the film, my comp for him, if he could be Juwan Johnson, that'd be perfect. That's what I would want for him. I think he's either
he doesn't have those kind of ball skills or that leaping ability or athletic sort of. Well,
he's that big slot wide receiver, which you don't want. They're not going to get much production in the NFL, and only a few teams actually utilize that then too. Or he's going to be they're going to convert him to a tight end then. So he has slow release. His route running is not the greatest, especially when they have him outside at all. It's just not ideal then. His hands are okay. I think they're pretty decent then. They were at 6.3% drop rate, but he doesn't actually make the hard catches. So any catch outside his body is an issue. He can shield guys off, but he's not making the contested catches as much as I wanted to be then. For being so big, he has excellent body control, good physicality then. His long speed's not bad, but I said I don't see that 7.01 3-cone. I thought his acceleration, his quickness wasn't as good as I thought it would be then. And he doesn't have really much as far as the yak. I think he'd have good yak yards after catch then if he was a tight end, and we're looking at him as a tight end. But as far as like this wide receiver group, he's on the lower end in that regard then. So I said I think he has to. I think if there's going to be fantasy value for this guy, if he could switch to that tight end and get that almost like that dual eligibility, you could see like a Marcus Colston back in the day. That would be ideal then. But yeah, I didn't kill him as far as the score, but I just think it's going to be a tough path for him to be fantasy relevant going forward then. But he definitely could help an NFL team.
Yeah, he's not a receiver at the next level. I actually should have. I wish I had graded him with our tight end grading to see what number he would get. He got a 55 as far as a wide receiver grading.
Oh, you hated him.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to be able to give him positive marks for? So my best grades were hands. 4 drops on 82 targets is pretty solid. So he got a 7 there, and then he otherwise 6s and 5s. So
Even physicality?
No physicality. I gave him a 6. I mean, he's
I give him 8 on
above
that.
average He's above average, but for this size, he just doesn't impose his will. I didn't see him be a dominator. I guess I probably could have given him
blocker
one there.
Yeah, but
his, like you said, average speed off the ball, not super physical against corners, getting up and be physical with him. He very underdeveloped route tree. He doesn't have burst, doesn't have separation. He's very stiff out of his breaks. And they literally used him a lot as a big slot, which is kind of like a moving outside tight end. So he's kind of sort of used to that role already. He's just going to have to learn how to block at the next level. But he leaves so many catches, especially over the middle, out there. Like 4 out of 13 opportunities, 30% win rate for contested catches. And
for guy that size, you got to be better.
You don't see him going up and high pointing the ball. His catch radius just isn't as big as you want for somebody who's going to operate that way. The catch toughness just isn't there. Like you would want him to be like a Jawan Jennings, where he just catches everything that's coming his way, operates in the middle, and it's as tough as nails. And that's what he would have to be if he was going to be a big slot. And I just don't think he's going to have to keep putting on the weight and move to tight end in order to sort of be make it in the NFL, at least in my opinion. The speed's just very average. Quickness, like you said, very average. 55. I think just ballparking, I'd have to go get the numbers, but I think he would probably slot in as about the 9th tight end on the board. So somebody that, as a tight end, I might take a flyer on, but I'm probably still not drafting even as a tight end. So probably out on him.
So he's not terrible on my board, but I think I think I'd have to bump him down a little bit. I'm going to bump down this contested catch. I didn't know it was that bad. I didn't see the actual percentiles for that then. So
yep,
we're going to sneak him down here as far as my board into that other category then. But let's move on to the next guy. Mm-hmm. So Xavier Hutchinson out of Iowa State then. So 6'2", 203 pounds, 9 3/8" hands then. Ran a 4.5 340, 9 foot 8 inch broad jump, 36 inch vertical, had a 1.55 10-yard split, and actually did the 3-cone, a pretty good 3-cone at 6.91 seconds.
So 42nd percentile 40, 65th percentile 3-cone, 64th percentile vertical jump, 17th percentile broad jump, and no further testing at his pro day.
Yeah, and this guy was very productive all 3 years then. Best year in 2022, 107 catches for 1,171 yards, 10.9 yards per pop, and 6 touchdowns then. So you get to start with Xavier Hutchinson then.
So I feel like I liked him more than his score came out to be. But I guess just sort of taking him from the top, I thought that he had average speed off the ball, okay feet. I thought that he could sort of be pushed around a little bit by physical corners, and he's 203, so he's a little bit thin to be 6'2". But his route running, I thought that he did okay sort of underneath in the intermediate, but I didn't see him sort of he definitely needs more of a developed route tree. It's just lots of pumped up stats from these underneath crosses and stuff like that. His suddenness is above average, and he does okay with a little bit of he creates a little bit of separation, but he could just be a little more crisp at times. So he's a little above average there. Hands, he had 6 drops on 161 targets, but he caught a lot of balls. Again, some of that's inflated by the routes and stuff that he ran, but pretty solid. His contested catch is just it's okay. It's above average. So he had 14 out of 31 opportunities in 2022, and his ball tracking it's above average. He has an okay, pretty good catch radius. He can extend his body out and catch balls outside of his frame. He can dig down deep and get poorly thrown balls, but he just doesn't always high point the ball as well as I would like. His body control is above average, pretty good. I feel like if he would just go attack the ball, it would work out better for him, because He just has a lot of contested catches where he's just letting the ball kind of get into him some on some of these deeper throws. He can add a little bit after the catch, so he's got some good elusiveness, and he's got a very good start-stop. He had 15 missed tackles forced, which is pretty good. And
see him on film.
Yep. And so I thought he had, pretty good quickness and acceleration. The top-end film speed, I thought he'd be faster than 4.53, but I thought that he was a little above average. So I had him maybe a little bit. I thought he would be sub 4.5 or at least 4.5. So that was a little surprising.
Well, 4.53. That's
well, but still, that's a big difference when you look at these percentiles. So he got a 66 for me. So he came in at number 19. So he's kind of in that group. I would absolutely take a flyer on him as sort of a later pick if he gets an okay spot, but he's not somebody that alone has super good standout value, despite his size and him being able to play outside.
See, I think this is where we differ, and you're more of a Bryce Ford-Wheaton guy.
Yep.
I'm an Xavier Hutchinson guy. I liked him. I liked him a good amount. So I actually gave him a 73.
Jeez Louise.
So these next two guys, I'm going back in time to the Buffalo Bills then. So this guy gave me flashbacks, and then the next guy's going to give me flashbacks as well then too. So I actually see this guy as a Stevie Johnson type player. So Stevie Johnson was had 3 1,000-yard years in a row then. Was sort of force-fed the ball by Ryan Fitzpatrick then. But very effective. And this guy is what he is. He's an unorthodox route runner. So a lot of basketball type moves in his cuts, his shakes then. And he just finds a way to get open then. So he's got quick feet. He's good off the line then. He is. I wish he was a little bit sharper as far as his routes then.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said he has a low ADOT, so low average depth of target then. But he's a guy that can work inside and outside then. And I think he just gets and as far as the rest of the categories, I think he gets a sort of above average to good marks around the board then. Like I said, he had 6 drops, but when you're getting 107 catches, that's a pretty low percentile then as far as drops then. Contested catch, I think he's a little above average in that regard. Good ball tracking, just body wall. I think he's a very physical guy. So he's a guy that is able to run through arm tackles. So it's not just the elusiveness and his quick feet after the catch then. He can create extra yardage just by shedding tackles then. And I think I agree with you. He doesn't have the best long speed then, but I think he's quicker than fast. And I'd rather have my receiver quicker than a guy that can run a straight 40 then too. So like I said, I really like Xavier Hutchinson. I have him in that right now. It's probably going to be that third group of guys then, the third tier then. I really like what I see. And like I said, I see Stevie Johnson. Will he be a 1,000-yard receiver in the NFL? Who knows? But I'd be more looking to get him in that third round where you're getting Bryce Ford-Wheaton, and then you're probably looking to get him maybe in that 4th or 5th round then as far as your drafts then. So I think that's where we differ then. But I really like this guy. I think he has potential then, and we'll see how it translates and see where he goes.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to bump him to a 67 because I gave him a 6 on contested catch just based on his numbers alone and what you see on film. He should be a 7 there, so I'm going to give him a 67. It doesn't move him up a whole lot, but it puts him into that sort of 18th spot. So I think he's a wide receiver 3 on a team. So I don't know. In a third, like he actually, I think he fits like last year where Romeo Doubs was being drafted. Sort of the end of the 3rd round to early 4th round guy in your rookie drafts.
Post type.
Post type.
Because
he was not there.
If you were drafting after the NFL draft, you're getting him in the 5th round. But closer to the season, the hype train was motoring pretty good. He was more that 2nd round type pick then.
Yep. Yeah, so I didn't dislike him. It's just I think you're a little bit higher on him than I was. I would take Ford-Wheaton over him.
Yeah, I clearly would take Xavier Hutchinson. I think it's not even close in my opinion then. But I think as far as athleticism, Ford-Wheaton definitely is a superior athlete. But I think as far as the actual football player, I think Hutchinson's a better football player, better wide receiver. So moving on to the next guy, Scotty's boy, other boy, or I guess you got two boys this draft class. So we'll say one of the two boys, Jalin Hyatt at a Tennessee. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay, I'm working on it. In North here we say Tennessee, but this guy's a Southern boy, so he said Tennessee. You gotta roll a little bit. So 6 foot, featherweight of 176, 9-inch hands. Then ran a 4.4440. Actually, ran a 4.440, and 40-inch vertical, 11 foot, 3-inch broad jump, and his 10-yard split was 1.5. So fast dude.
So 87th percentile 40, 93rd percentile vertical jump, 97th percentile broad jump. At his pro day, he was up to 184 pounds. So that's an 8-pound gain. The only number that came out was his 3-cone. He did not run the 40 again, and it was 706, which was 39th percentile. I expect that he's probably a little quicker than that, but maybe the weight sort of brought him down some.
Yeah, I think he's probably on his period then too at his pro day because he had all that water weight on. Because you can't gain that much muscle.
I mean, I don't know.
In a few weeks.
Tennessee's strength and conditioning program is pretty
gain
good.
That much muscle in a few weeks.
It's pretty good.
He was pounding the waters. He had to really pee afterwards, so he was rushed to the bathroom then. But yeah, so he had very little production in 2020 and 2021 then, but then went balls to the wall here in 2022. So 67 catches, 1,267 yards, 18.9 yards per catch, and 15 touchdowns. So did he win the Blitnikoff?
He did.
He did, then, yeah. So Scotty, since he's your boy, we'll let you go first then, and then I'll tell you what it is.
Yes. So when you're projecting him to the NFL, there are deficiencies that you got to know. He has skills that are absolute plus and top in the class, and that will absolutely translate. But he's not a complete receiver. So 6 foot 176, he's more of just a slot guy. And Tennessee, because they had two physical receivers that could really be bully route runners, and everybody at Tennessee has to block and be physical. So even Hyatt was, above average physicality even for his size. But that really helped Hyatt because they could put him in the slot sort of and get more of a free release because that's where he can really be successful. His, speed off the ball is absolutely excellent. Like, it is extremely fast. It's the fastest in his class. He's got super quick feet. And if you watch the Georgia game, Georgia actually tried to just bully him anytime he wasn't the sort of the guy that was set back a little bit, and they really tried to be physical with him, and he actually had some moves and can handle it okay. So I was a little, I think that probably was one of the things that led to Tennessee's ineffectiveness on offense was, Hyatt sort of got, not that he got took out of the game, but it limited his, production. But as a route runner, he doesn't have a full developed route tree. He only has a few routes, but the routes he runs are like elite. Like, his fades and his go routes are just like he's going to run by anybody. I definitely think he's faster than 4.4. I would not have been surprised to see him running the high 4.2s because he's the fastest college football player that I watched this year as far as long speed. He's definitely in the 4.3 range. Absolutely no doubt. I don't think he played at 176. He probably played in the high 160s, but super fast. But the routes he runs, like, he has a comeback, sort of a hitch that he runs, and he creates such good separation. When he runs sort of that one-cut slant, very good. He can really create separation and use his speed to get across the field. So he's got upside as a route runner once he sort of gets more work with that, and he's still young. So he's got some upside there. Hands are pretty solid. You saw some concentration drops at times, but overall only 5 drops on 67 targets. So pretty solid overall. I think he has the jump ball skills to be a jump ball winner. I don't know that he has the sort of body or ability right now to sort of catch balls in the intermediate as good as he should. I feel like he would probably struggle more with contested catches, sort of in the congested part of the middle of the field, but he only had 3 out of 5 opportunities for contested catches, but I gave him some positive marks there just because of upside. Ball tracking is definitely very good. I mean, he times up those deep balls as good as anybody. It looks like every throw is, for the most part, is pretty perfect. Definitely an above average catch radius. Body control is very good. He can really go up and get the ball when he needs to. He's physicality, like I said, he's small, so he can be rerouted and pushed around some, and you saw that. But he'll get his nose dirty and get in there and block. So it's not like he's like completely unphysical, but he's not the best marks there. He can elude a few after the catch, but usually just uses his speed and space. He did have 8 missed tackles forced, which is kind of just average, a little bit above average. But when you talk deep speed, 10s, you talk quickness, acceleration, like getting through cuts, and like he's got 10 stuff. So he got an 80 for me. He ended up coming in at number 2 on my board. I don't think he's as complete as I want him to be, so I don't feel super safe with him. I feel like he's a little more risky, but you're saying that about pretty much everybody in this class because there's just not complete receivers. So it's gonna, like, he could go to a landing spot that will absolutely crush his value. So he's there's risk there. But man, I really like what he puts on film is excellent, and I think the upside is going to be even better. So I gave him an 80. I mean, I really like Jalin Hyatt. If this was last year's class, he would be like late first rounder, early second, maybe second round guy in your rookie drafts. But that's just where I see the receiver class this year.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of things you said then. I had him significantly lower as far as score, like at a 74 then, but you can't argue with the top end speed. 74.
So he's like barely cracking top 10?
But he's in that group of 7 guys I have right now. That's in that second tier. Like I said, I haven't scouted Jackson Smith. I assume, based on all the hype I'm hearing, he's going to be the number 1. But
speed. Like, what did you give him for speed?
He got the speed and acceleration. Got 9s.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, like I said, those are top marks. I think his route running, and specifically the separation. Like anytime he got the ball, he was just wide open. Like
yeah, well, he creates some of that.
Yeah, and I think like the thing you worry about, like when you see a guy that's six foot, and Tennessee just hit him in the slot the whole time. Like when he's outside, he was susceptible to jamming. Then the slot allowed him to get that free release. Then he had 5 contested catches all year.
Yep.
Like you're not going to be that open in the NFL. So
well, I mean, his downfield catches, he ran by everybody, so it's not a contested catch.
I'm not saying like he does that wonderful, like the downfield ball tracking, body control, all elite. Then he is an elite deep threat.
Yep.
He's a big play waiting to happen. Then, but how's that? Is he a complete receiver? No, he's not. I think he's like the hands are pretty good then. But I think this contested catch is, I anticipate it may be a bigger issue. I can't say for certain then. I think his yards after catch is more speed than anything. He's not going to break any tackles. He's going to be more like a Chris Olave type player then. And the physicality, I dinged him pretty good on that then, because I didn't see much when he went over the middle then. There were times when he looked
what score did you give him for physicality?
A 5.
Well, I mean, he gets after it blocking. He's not that he's not.
Oh, I think he'll try to block then. I think he's a willing blocker. I don't think he's special as far as blocking, and I think he's average.
For his size, I thought he was above average physicality.
Yeah, so I give him an average physicality. That usually I say average is that 5 to 6 range mark then. And like I said, I see him as a big play, deep ball threat. I think he's going to be boom or bust week to week. I don't think he's going to be a consistent guy, and he's definitely not going to be. He can't be a wide receiver 1 on his team then. I think I see a lot of people comping him to Will Fuller out there, and Will Fuller had DeAndre Hopkins when he was most successful then.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I already told you about this, but as far as my comp for him, had a little bit of that nostalgia again then too. And what I see here is another Tennessee Volunteer then. So we're going back 20-some years then, but Peerless Price. So you call him Fearless Peerless? Is that what's nicknamed at Tennessee?
I don't think so. I think that I just made that up. But
I'm like,
but,
he doesn't really, never.
No, you can't be throwing out these big names like that. I'm not ready to say he's like Peerless Price. But
Peerless Price. For Jalen Hyatt, he's going to need a big arm quarterback. He's going to need a number one receiver already on the team then. And that year, so Peerless Price, the year that he. The 1 year he got over 1,000 yards was I think it was in 2022 or in 2020, 2002, and he had Drew Bledsoe, so a deep throwing quarterback then, had a lot of big plays then. He had Eric Moulds as a clear number one on the other side. Eric Moulds had 2,200 yards as well that season then. And then he had a very good running game in Travis Henry, then another Tennessee Volunteer. So Scotty's salivating over here right now.
Travis Henry was my favorite player. That's my childhood. That's he's the guy that I remember most. So I love Travis Henry.
I'm bringing up nostalgia for Scotty here then too.
Listen, Jalen Hyatt, let's put him in Buffalo. You put him with Josh Allen somewhere that has a cannon arm.
Jalen Hyatt would be in Buffalo then. He needs a strong on quarterback, and he needs that number one, and they need to air it out then. Like I said, even in Buffalo, he's still going to be that week in, week out boomer bust type guy then. But I think that offers him the best possibilities then, and that's good for Buffalo then too, as far as stretching the field more then too.
Absolutely, just make their offense unbelievably good.
And imagine having Gabe Davis and Diggs out wide then, Jalen Hyatt in the slot then, and then you have not Hardy anymore, but the guy they just signed also in the slot, or Shakir in the slot then.
Let's talk this into existence. This is a great pick for Buffalo. But this makes their offense just man, oh man.
The perfect spot for Hyatt, and I said it's going to make Buffalo better than too is at 27 at Buffalo, and did Hyatt didn't get invited to the NFL draft though. So
Are you sure?
I don't think he got invited. It definitely.
I know Flowers. I'd be shocked if Hyatt wasn't a first-round pick. I'm going to be very surprised.
Flowers, Jackson Smith, and Addison got invites to the draft.
Well,
wide receiver.
Like I said, I'm going to be very surprised if Hyatt's not taken in the first. But
I said that he has deficiencies. Then that's what people are.
That's why I said the landing spot for him can absolutely kill his skill set. He needs that
if he goes
quarterback
to New England
that can throw
Jones.
the ball. I have very little that really hurts him. I have a lot less interest. But if you put him in the right spot with somebody who can throw the ball down the field, oh baby, you're talking top 3 rookie pick.
Yeah, I think he'd be good out in San Diego, not San Diego. Who are they now? Los Angeles, the Chargers.
Yeah.
Other big, strong on quarterbacks. Then, if he goes to, I think people will be salivating on him too if he goes to Kansas City. But I don't think he's definitely not a Tyreek Hill. He's not a Tyreek Hill. He's not that kind of guy. But
Jalen Hyatt to Buffalo. Let's make that happen.
I'll call Brendan beating up right now. I got him on speed dial here.
Yeah, at the end of the first, let's make that happen. That's a sexy pick.
Let's get him in the second. Just gotta get someone else in the first.
He's not. I can't wait to see where these guys go. I'll be shocked if he's not a first-round pick.
You coming over again?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Jalen Hyatt, like I said, a lot of these guys, there's a lot of deficiencies. There's not many complete wide receivers, but it's landing spot dependent. So next on the list, Andrei Yosevich. So I'm just going to say Andrei from now on then. But out of Princeton then, so 6'3", 205, 8 3/4-inch hands then, 4.43 40, 39-inch vertical, 10-foot 8-inch broad jump, 1.52 second 10-yard split, and a 6.85 three-cone drill. So good combine.
79th percentile 40, 75th percentile three-cone, 88th percentile vertical jump, 86th percentile broad jump. At his pro day, he didn't jump as well, so 37.5 inches, 79th percentile vertical jump.
And then as far as production, these past 2 years, very good production in 2022. 66 catches, 943 yards, 14.3 yards per catch, and 7 touchdowns. So it seems like a solid athlete. I think there's potential here for this guy.
You can sum him up in 3 letters. R-A-W. Raw.
Raw dog.
Raw. Yep.
But yeah, the film was actually pretty good then.
He's playing against like Ivy League schools though.
That was my next line. So is it more who he's going against, or is it more him then? And that's gonna be tough to differentiate at this stage of the game then. But I think he okay route running then. Hands were actually pretty good. Only had 3 drops then. I think he has strong hands, but sometimes he does sort of revert to that body catching. Contested catch against these smaller schools, but he's very good at jump balls then. I think very good ball tracking down the field then. I don't think he's that 4.43 speed. I think he has good speed. I think he has good acceleration, but it didn't seem that...
all straight line. Straight line speed.
Yeah, he doesn't really offer much necessarily after the catch then. We'd expect against these smaller guys, and with his size and his supposed quickness here based on his combine numbers then. But so I have here potential, but how will it translate versus elite competition? So that's where it all comes down to for Andrei here then. But I don't know if you saw anything different or had any other thoughts then.
What was your score?
68. So you got a decent score then.
So a little bit better than me. So I gave him a 64. So like he's draftable, but he's definitely a late round flyer. So raw. He does not play fast. Like he just doesn't play. I don't know if he just doesn't play hard, but maybe he doesn't have to run like as hard every route as he would if he was facing elite competition. And you saw that at the Senior Bowl. Like he didn't stand out as good as some other folks because he just doesn't play. He doesn't have the play speed. So like you don't see 6.85 3-cone because his route running he rounds routes off. He just doesn't have a feel for leverage or how to separate. He looks like a tight end, honestly, to be honest. And I think that's the stuff
I think he's better than that. But.
Well, that's the stuff you can coach too. Like he gets somebody who can, if he's got that athletic ability, maybe he can improve there. But his speed off the ball is just okay. I didn't see him flying off the ball. I don't know if it's an effort thing or just he has it takes a little longer to build up his speed. But I mean, he let people get their hands on him. He's so upright that it is so easy for DBs to just get up on him. The problem is he just didn't face the level of competition that, took advantage of that. But like you said, he had good contested catch numbers. I don't think they're going to be near that good. I don't think he's going to be 11 out of 16 against good competition. But he's got good jump ball skills. He can sort of catch some back shoulder throws and reach back and get it. So he has an above average catch radius. But you don't see him being, physical at the point of attack. You don't see him being sort of that just... When you have these guys at these smaller schools, you want them to just dominate this competition, and I just didn't see that. He had 16 missed tackles forced, which is really good number, but he is just not elusive, and he's not super physical. I think he just does it sort of with his good vision, so those are okay numbers, but I just don't know how well it translates. So you got somebody who's got good straight line build-up speed. I didn't think he had very good quickness and acceleration, and he got a 64. So he's raw. I mean, he has some stuff that makes him a good late-round flyer if he gets a spot and he gets drafted. And I think he will get drafted. He'll probably be like a 6th, 7th round pick. So, I mean, he'll be drafted in your rookie drafts as a late 4th, early 5th round flyer. But I expected better. Just expected better.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't as negative as you. I think I still would have him draftable as far as my players then. And I think I would love to just stash him on the taxi squad or practice squad then and just see how he develops then. Because I said, his testing numbers seem like their potential, and I saw flashes of that in this film then, but like I said, it's going to depend on how he adjusts to the better competition then. But
okay, Yoshivas or Boutte? Pick one.
Oh, crap.
They're back-to-back on my board, so that's why I ask.
So Boutte, he showed against elite competition his freshman year. Do you hope he comes back from those ankle issues?
I took Yoshivas.
You took Yoshivas?
Yep. But they got the same score.
Yeah, well, I'll take them both, put them in my practice squad after the draft. I'll sneak them, make a waiver claims. But yeah, it's tough then, but it's going to come down to landing spot and opportunity and whatnot. But yeah, but both those guys are still keeping an eye on them. They're not undraftable, but some deficiencies then.
Yep. So
next up, Rakim Jarrett out of Maryland, 6 foot, 192 pounds, then 9 3/8 hands, ran a 4.44 40, 35.5 inch vertical, 10 foot 3 inch broad jump, and a 1.51 10-yard split.
So 74th percentile 40, 56th percentile vertical jump, 64th percentile broad jump. No further testing at his pro day.
And his best year was in 2021 then, had 62 catches, 829 yards, 13.4 yards per catch, and 5 touchdowns. And I think everyone in Maryland had a down 2022 year. 40 catches,
that's what happens when
yards.
You have those Tagovailoa quarterbacks. Not good for fantasy.
And had 11.8 yards per catch and only 3 touchdowns. So what do you think of Rakim Jarrett?
Well, I hope you got a better score than I did. He didn't score very well for me. I don't know. He got a 61.
I gave him a 68 then.
Okay, pretty rough.
Yeah.
So he has very good speed off the ball. I thought he had good feet, and he's above average physicality. So I thought his ability with press was pretty good, but I thought his separation and his route running were just sort of okay. Like he has a little bit of suddenness, and he can get open sort of in the intermediate, but he just doesn't create a ton of separation. He definitely needs a more defined route tree and better technique, because like you mostly just see him run a good slant and a good hitch, and then that's kind of it. He has some speed, like he has above average speed, but you just don't see him be a deep ball threat, and that's probably because of the quarterback. So maybe he does have a little upside there, but he had very inconsistent hands, and anytime you can hear the hands on TV, the ball hitting the hands, they're what you call loud hands, and those are negative.
Well, that's because Maryland doesn't have anyone at their stadium.
Well, that could be it too, but 8 drops on 64 targets, and then 6 drops on 90 targets the year before. His contested catch percentage, pretty poor, 1 out of 7 in 2022, and then 3 out of 13 in 2021. And he just leaves a lot on the field. Like, he struggles to operate inside or in traffic, which is what you really need him to do. And his ball tracking is a little bit above average. Like, you can see him make some high point plays, but just drops a lot of balls. He's a physical route runner, so it's not that he's like not physical, but he's just above average there. He'll break a few tackles. He's got okay elusiveness, and so if you get the ball to him in open space, he does all right. But only 4 missed tackles forced in 2022, and the top end film speed, that 4.44, like you didn't get to see that as much as you wanted to. So I still gave him good marks just because of upside. But yeah, 61 is not a very solid score. No. I mean, he's kind of on that line of would I draft him or not? So I mean, I might take he would be probably a waiver guy. We'll see. We'll see if he gets drafted, where he gets drafted. I think he gets like 6th, 7th round pick in the draft, but
there was very limited film on him then too. So Maryland didn't do much this year.
40 catches for an everyday player. That's not very good.
So I gave him more benefit of the doubt in a lot of my scores, but after you're talking, I bumped it down 2 more points. So I bumped it down to 66.
Yeah, well, 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns for what is likely Maryland's best receiver.
Yeah, and I pretty much just saw him operating only out of the slot then too.
Yeah.
So even though he's 6'1", 192, has decent size, he was just a slot guy.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I put okay separation, but not great. So I bumped him down a point in there.
Yeah.
And then the contested catches, I gave him a 6, but the only thing I have here is issues in traffic with holding onto the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're catching,
I probably could have not given him a 4 there, but he deserved to be knocked down.
Yeah.
Yeah, he deserved to be knocked down.
And when you're dropping 16.7% of the catches of the balls to you,
yep,
that is a lot of drops. That's probably near tops of the class then.
Yep.
And I think his best thing was he's a physical player, so very good blocker. So that's his sort of saving grace then. And he has some wiggle from as far as the yards after the catch potential, and then his speed wasn't terrible, but yeah, not much to work with. It would be interesting to go back more to that 2021 film to see if anything was different then. But yeah, I just came away very meh with Rakim, Jarrett then and a lot of these Maryland guys.
He will be a better pro than he was college football player. But
yeah.
He's got to get there's 50,000 slot guys in his class, so
yeah, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough for him to break through.
Yeah. And the final guy for this show then, last but not least. So the highly touted Quentin Johnston out of TCU, the Horned Frogs. Like I said, Scotty, before the show, I love that mascot. That is a very unique mascot. And the purple is very beautiful. I love watching the Horned Frogs purple on the film there.
I got a perfect comp for this guy. Perfect comp.
I have one too.
Okay.
It's a little bit of reach then, but
okay.
But so 6'3", 208 pounds, 9 5/8 inch hands then. So ran at his pro day, it ran a 4.4940 to 4.5140. It had a 40.5 inch vertical, 11 foot 2 inch broad jump, and I don't think he ran a 3-cone anywhere. Or he did at his pro day then. I don't have that number here. I think it was 7.3 something.
Yep. So at the combine, 95th percentile vertical jump, 96th percentile broad jump. At his pro day, he was up to 212 pounds, and he ran a 7.313 cone, 7th percentile.
So production-wise then, 3 decent years, definitely stood out in 2022 like a lot of these guys. So 60 catches, 1,069 yards then, 17.8 yards per catch, and 6 touchdowns. So Quentin Johnston, I wanted this guy so bad to be my number 1 receiver in this class then.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like he was one of the few guys that actually had the potential to be a true number 1 on their team.
Mm-hmm.
With this size, wiggle, and just his overall playmaking ability then. So he's, as far as the pluses, I think his best is actually the yards after the catch then. So he is very good there. So he has lots of juice then. He's elusive, and he does this move. I saw at least 5 times on the film then, where he catches it, he jukes, he catches it facing the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He then jukes the one way and then comes back the other way real quick, and the corner just blows by every time and misses him completely. So he's excellent at that. He has great contact balance. He has a dead leg. I think he's just dynamic with the ball in his hands then.
Mm-hmm.
Physicality, he is very physical in blocking. He's a beast after the catch then. I think he has a effective release then. So he's very, very quick feet then, uses his hands very well. I think his route running is better than average then. He's a space eater, so he gets up on corners very fast then. I think he's very good at the crossing route. He's determining what depth to go. So depending on what the linebacker or the safety is doing, he'll either cut in from or go deeper if they're sort of cheating on the shorter ball then. And his ball tracking and body control are very good, but where he definitely gets hurt at is his hands. So most games you saw a drop on an easy pass over the middle, just on a crossing route. Then he had a 14% drop rate, which is no bueno then, especially if you're going to be a number 1 receiver. And then for a guy his size, a guy that his physicality, he's not very good at contested catches. I dinged him on that pretty good there, and yeah, I just was not impressed. I think he needs to just go to a jugs machine and just catch 1,000 balls every day to improve on that then. But yeah, I it gives you a lot of worry. So he's another guy that I think he wanted to go to the NFL draft, but he didn't get an invite to the NFL draft. So that makes me worry that he's not going to necessarily get the first round draft capital either. So, yeah, he's a very high risk, possibly high reward player. And right now, as far as the projections for on Sleeper, he is the fifth, sixth player off the board then so far. So he's mid round one draft capital at this point in time then. And I don't know if I want to spend that on someone this risky at that point in time then. So so
what was your total score?
77. So he still got a good score.
So go through and tell me your score on each thing. I want to see where we're
release
at.
Off the line 8, route running 7, hands 6, contested catches 6, ball tracking, body control 8, physicality 9, yards after catch 9, and then film speed and quickness both 8s.
So the quickness, that was, I saw him have some elusiveness, so that's why I kind of bumped up the yak to a 9 there, but I only gave him a 6 for quickness acceleration because I just didn't feel like his lateral quickness and stuff wasn't good.
When the ball's in his hands,
good vision and good wiggle, but
yeah. I think with the ball in his hands, I think the quickness sort of shines then. I think he's a lot. Not every time when he's running routes you see that, but that's where I do that. But yes, and then as far as the comp I have, so another we'll say wide receiver that was drafted in the first round and had sort of this physical, big body type then, not necessarily the greatest catcher, Cordell Patterson.
Oh, don't even start with that. So he's not Cordell Patterson. Patterson is super dynamic, dude. He's not Cordell Patterson.
As far as the yards after catch dynamic, Cordell Patterson was an excellent return man then too.
Dude, are you just picking on all these Tennessee guys just to get me agitated?
it's a comp to Tennessee guys day.
No, Cordell Patterson was an elite kick returner type
he
guy.
He was a first round draft pick that was drafted as a wide receiver and flamed out as a wide receiver, but then
I'm going to tell you,
became a running back. I'm not saying that Quentin Johnston's going to be a running back. I don't think he has that in his arsenal here. I think he but what he is, that's the downside, the risk that I'm seeing here. It could be as big as Cordell Patterson, but he could, like you said, if he cleans up the drops, becomes better at contested catches, he could be a wide receiver 1. He could be the top player in this class as far as the wide receivers. I'm going
to tell you who Quentin Johnston is.
Let's hear it.
Quentin Johnston is Chase Claypool.
Well, Chase Claypool, I think, had better hands. But he wasn't as dynamic.
He's Chase Claypool, just not as fast.
Chase Claypool's our tight end. This guy's not a tight end.
No, but I just don't. So he got a 73, and he literally hit number 10 on the board. So he's my number 10 receiver. But release off the ball, he has good speed off the ball. He really puts stress on DBs early, but feet are just okay, and he allows the press to handle him way too easy. He just gets so sort of upright or just isn't physical enough.
I thought he was good with his feet in his hands.
I don't know. I didn't see him being as physical as I wanted him to be. I wanted to see him get off the ball a little better. His route running, I thought, was not good. I thought he drifted into routes, but then others you'd see him sort of snap off quick. So I don't know if he just wasn't, you'd see DBs attached to him. He'd sort of telegraph his cuts and breaks, and maybe he just falls in love with using his sort of, using his ball skills. And I think that him not being so technical as a route runner is what led to him having poor contested catch numbers and more drops. So when you only have 8 out of 23 contested catches, he's just a finesse wide receiver with average hands. Don't get me wrong, his physicality overall is good, and he gets good marks, but he's not physical at the point of a catch like he should be. He could be a just dominant guy with the ball in the air, and he's not that.
I agree with that. At the point of the catch, it's not the greatest.
No, and like he's got the plus body control, special stuff there. But I expected him to be more elite with his ball skills and just good with some of the other speed stuff. But it turned out he was good enough with the speed stuff, but just not elite enough with the ball skills stuff. So I don't know. He's an enigma, man. I feel like I could go back and watch him and then put his score all over the place because it depends on which games you watch. Because some games he has good film, and then other games he just has not so good film.
So one game where he has two plays right over the middle, back to back, where he just drops it.
Yeah, well, the thing that surprises me is I just don't see 19 missed tackles forced. Like, I see that he has some ability, but those numbers are really good. So I ended up giving him good numbers. But 73, he's a top 10 receiver, and he is volatile. Like, man, oh man, like when he goes to a team, he would need to be their number one receiver. Like, he has that sort of makeup. But
well, the thing is, TCU had a running quarterback. They had a very, very good running back, which we loved then. And I think they were a run-first team then, so I think that led to some of the volatility. And the thing is, TCU won a lot of games this year, so they were playing from ahead most of the time.
Yeah. He reminds me of, like, and he's not near as talented, and that's the problem, but DK Metcalf. He needs that quarterback that can just get him the ball.
Yeah, but DK's a contested catch guy. Like,
DK is phenomenal. That's what I expected and wanted Quentin Johnston to be, was like DK. But he's just not. I'm not super excited about him. I mean, I don't see a situation where he's going to fall out of the early second round in rookie drafts. People are just going to love the highlight film and stuff. But unless he fell to me in the mid-second round, I'm probably not taking this guy. I think he's probably gonna be taken way too high. Because, like, on Sleeper right now, his ADP is insanely high for where he should rank in this class.
6 in a single QB league.
No way, man. I'm out on that. I would easily take the top 7, 8 people that I have above him. So
I think he's probably the highest risk pick of all the guys in this class then, as far as the rookie wide receivers, just based on his draft capital. Other guys you can get later in the drafts then, but as far as draft capital, where you need to draft him at this point in time, if his draft cap, if he an NFL draft, he gets drafted in the back end of the second or even the third round, that's going to push him back as far as that goes. But right now, he's definitely one of the more riskier picks then. So as always, check out the YouTube channel and see what guys you like, see what guys you dislike then, and see if you agree with our opinions then. Hit us up on Twitter if any questions or any comments then. You can also put the comments into the YouTube channel then as well. Mm-hmm. And like the podcast on Apple iTunes then. Give some good reviews then. Help get the exposure up there. I think we offer pretty good content here, good analysis. And check out the shows 3 and 4 coming out a little bit later then.
Yep.
That's all I got. So, Scott, you got anything else?
Nope, that's all.
Okay, so this is Joseph Adrian signing off.
This is Scott Martin, and you just listened to the Dynasty Interview Fantasy Football Podcast.